that speech. We now look back to the proposition team, and I introduce Jonathan Breeze to sum up the argument for the proposition side.
Okay, it's going to be short. On the voting at the conference, I wasn't there obviously because I have no sort of affiliation to the NUS whatsoever. But a lot of people who are and are supportive of the NUS, and it's been in the press and such, say that it is blatantly partisan and, well, on the topic of Peter Smallwood, he might have lost because he was a Tory, maybe, and I assume that had a part to play with some people probably. But the winner did have the support of Labour students, which is, it says a lot. On the issue that it's the students who tell the NUS what to do. Well, I'd like to know who at our uni then came up with the no platform policy, because I certainly no one's put their head above the parapet and actually said, well, I did that. So I don't think that they do listen, really. On the issue of EMA, tuition fees in Wales, clearly it's the Welsh Government policy that they didn't, it is their policy that they didn't want that, so that's it. And you say that in Scotland, Scotland, Edinburgh and St Andrews, they aren't part of it. Yeah, the Scottish Government, they don't have a policy of tuition fees. It is the government policy that has the greatest effect. It's not the NUS. It's what government policy decides, and they're not listening to the NUS really. It's just they'll do what they want because students aren't a large sort of political voting force. That's the truth of it. Is it a smoke screen? No, it's not a smoke screen. We just firmly believe that financial benefits will be better outside the NUS. I think on the yes side they came up with a figure that we save 130,000 or something like that. But we still haven't seen the source of this. And Southampton actually, they put out what they said was that they actually saved £30,000, and that's actually in writing and an independent report. So clearly the financial benefit isn't there, and that is why we think we should disaffiliate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jonathan, for that speech. I now look to the final speaker in our debate, and the final speaker for the opposition team of Ollie Wannon to conclude.
Okay, so if any of you have been following the No to NUS campaign, you'll notice that they speak a lot about the cost of membership to the NUS, and they argue that the financial benefit to the sum of £130,000 Cardiff could gain itself by individually negotiating our own sort of consortium. And we failed to see how this is possible, but we also failed to see that it's relevant. Because to say that the benefit of membership to the NUS is a financial benefit is much like saying that the benefit a child gets from having parents as pocket money. It fails to appreciate the real qualitative benefits that Cardiff students gain. They've also failed to appreciate that we are a Welsh university, and we have NUS Wales as well as NUS UK. And NUS Wales fought to keep EMA in Wales. It fought to keep the £3,000 tuition fees for Welsh students. And Leighton Andrews, the Welsh Minister for Education, said that it was negotiations with the President of NUS Wales that largely led to the decision to keep the lower tuition fees. So even if they contest the £130,000 benefit that we get from the NUS, they surely cannot contest a member of their own party saying that actually it was the NUS Wales that benefited the price for Welsh students. Now, They said that the NUS completely wastes the money that we give them. They said that the NUS dictates things to us, and they said that policies have little input for students. No, on all three. The NUS does not waste the money we give to us. We give to them, and they might think that the NUS campaigning on things like, you know, student liberation, like LGBT campaigns, campaigns for the role of women in education and the role of women in society, are a waste of money. But we certainly do not think that. The NUS does not dictate policy to us. In fact, the NUS does not have any say over what our union does. The NUS has policy of its own, yes. And on pole dancing, on what we can sell, I think there is deep confusion in the No to NUS campaign, because the NUS cannot tell us what society to have. And on the telling us what to sell thing, I think maybe they've got wind of about the fact that the union doesn't sell Nestle products. The reason why the union doesn't sell Nestle products is because that was something that went through Student Council a couple of years ago because of things that Nestle were doing internationally. It was nothing to do with the NUS, it was something decided by Cardiff students and Cardiff students alone. And if they actually paid time and attention to understanding what the NUS is about, they would know that everything the NUS does, and all policy comes from students. It comes from the suggestions from SAB teams. It comes from the National Conference, where SAB teams and student delegates vote. And we've also heard that we have less independence. And for a start, that's not true, because for a start we lose our ability to say to the NUS what we want. But practically their argument makes no sense, because sure, our sabbatical officers could work on national issues, they could potentially gain a consortium. And I don't mind them suggesting that we should leave our sabbatical teams to spend more time in the Assembly. But they can't with the same breath say that our sabbatical teams would have more time to campaign locally and campaign, when they're suggesting that our sabbatical teams spend that time building a consortium that is already there for us, that we are already benefiting from being a member of. So now I'm going to go on to say what the NUS has done and is doing for Cardiff students right now, and then what the NUS will be doing in the future. So if you've ever been a member of a society, if you've ever approached your student academic rep with an issue, or if you've ever put something through student council, the NUS has helped these processes, which have made all of these things possible. For societies, on Sunday, just 2 days ago, the NUS held with presidents training to make sure that the presidents of your societies know how to best run those societies, in getting funding, in organising committees, and things like that. For the union as a whole, the NUS offers over 100 events throughout the year to train sabbatical officers, and does in-house training for student activists. And whilst the No to NUS team might think that this is a waste of money, we think that training people who want to help liberate students, and training people who do want a voice, is actually a vital part of what the NUS does and should continue doing. And for student academic reps, I went to training in my first year as a student academic rep, and the NUS were there, and they were helping, and they give our student academic reps the ability to do what they do well. And we have a student voice officer, or student voice coordinator, who works 2 days at the Students' Union, and she is currently paid by the university because the union say they can't afford to pay her wages. Now, without the support of the NUS, we would need twice as many officers, twice as more paid people to do the work that the NUS is currently doing in this training, and we simply cannot afford to do that. So while £50,000 might to them seem a lot of money, and might to them seem like we don't get anything back from it, think of the wages, actually, that we would have to pay in the alternative. And the alternative, frankly, isn't what they suggest, just having a sabbatical officer team, because they seem to be working on this myth that currently it's the sabbatical officer team versus the NUS, and that just isn't true. So I've spoken a bit about liberation, and you know, we have LGBT campaigns, we have international student issues, and issues about the position of women in education and society. And all are inherently national issues, and that requires a national platform. And withdrawal from the NUS would rip away that platform for those students who need it the most. The NUS gives these gives these issues significance, not just at university level, but at national level. And they can argue that as a body of 28,000 students run by 7 sabbatical officers, we would have a voice. But the groups that need that voice the most are minority groups, and they currently are catered for by the NUS. So what the NUS will do in the future? Well, I'm coming in as an officer next year as the VP for Education, and I know that I will need the support of the NUS in training student reps, and I know that I will need the same support that Sam had from the NUS. But the NUS also has things like an award scheme coming out in September, and this is because the NUS is not a traditional trade union that is static. The NUS is moving, it is progressing, and it recognises that the employment market, the graduate employment market, is not as it could be at the moment, and it knows therefore that it has to develop these awards and these schemes to benefit Cardiff students. And NUS is rightly proud of Cardiff students, hence why we have NUS Wales and NUS UK presidents here, and Cardiff should equally be proud of NUS.